I hope everybody's having a great lunch. Thanks again for joining me. Today, I want to talk about sponsorships. So, this is a sponsorship strategy. Casey and I have a lot of people approach us about uh, how can they get sponsors for whatever they have going on, whether it's an event or a nonprofit or podcast or a show. They wonder how we get sponsors and how they can get sponsors too. So I wanted to share the sponsorship strategy with you, and maybe you can leverage it to increase your sponsorship. So let's break down what each party wants from the deal. So a sponsor is looking for exposure, brand awareness. They're looking to get in front of a certain audience in a positive light. And basically, it's like word of mouth. Be referred by somebody that everyone looks at favorably. So if this person says, hey, you should do business with this company, then the likeliness or likelihood of them doing business is high. So that's what the sponsor's looking for. They're like, I'll pay you money in order to get in front of an audience and have you say that they should do business with me, or I'm a very credible company to do business with. And in turn, I start making sales or generating more business from that. Now, what does I guess you would say, influencer get out of it? A lot of times it would be financial. It would be money in order to give that shout out or that mention or that ad or whatever be the case, banner, whatever it is. It's the revenue that is given, or the money that is given from the brand company to the actual influencer for giving that shout out, mention, banner, referral. So the challenge with this is, for the companies, how can we get in front of the right audience? Now, back in the days, it used to be, how can we get in front of a lot of people? But nowadays, with social media and so much information and so many options out there, it's all about getting in front of the right people. Getting in front of a lot of people we've seen in terrestrial radio doesn't mean that you're going to generate a lot of business, because you're basing it on the radius of how many people live within the radio waves, the airwaves. Doesn't mean that they're listening. Doesn't mean that they're paying attention to the show, the commercials, whatever be the case. Now with digital, you can have analytics to show a little bit more detail of actually how many people and where they're coming from, but also who they are. So more savvy and advanced companies don't look at as much of how many people you're getting in front of, as far as like millions. They're looking at more of, who are you getting in front of and how are you getting in front of them? And so if you can show that you're building a relationship with your audience and you have staying power with your audience, that's more important than saying, I just have a large audience. Plus, a lot of these companies are very smart when it comes to building large audiences, and know that a lot of these audiences are bots, or they're Turks. So they're overseas outsourced that just, follow you for pennies on the dollar. But they're not really a true audience. They're just more fabricated audience. That is getting exposed more and more nowadays, which makes it more and more difficult to have a sponsor you just based on sheer numbers. So how do you build rapport with your audience, and as well as rapport with the actual brands that are looking for that brand awareness, and then in turn have them sponsor you? So this strategy breaks down how we like to approach it, and we found to be effective. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to set up your talks. You want to have an editorial calendar of different topics you want to talk about, and you want to set up your talks. From that, you want to see, who are your target I would say hit list, for lack of a better term, of brands that you want to go after. Once you find out what your topics are and the brands you want to go after, who are the people within those brands that you want to target, and leverage them to get the buy-in to sponsor you. Now, with that, do you go straight in with the sponsor letter? No, you do not go in straight with the sponsor letter or sponsor email, trying to pitch them. First thing you want to do is you want to build a rapport with them. You want to build a relationship with them. So here's one way that you can do that. First, follow them on their social. Once you follow them on their social, like, comment, engage with them on their social. The second thing you want to do is you want to send out an email. This email is not to pitch them on sponsorship, but just to invite them to be on either your live stream or your drop audio. Drop audio is like Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces and so forth. So you want them to be on a part of your broadcast network and contribute their insights there. Now, what does that do for you? One, it gets you on their radar. And then the second thing, it helps you warm up your audience to this particular brand. Now you're saying, well, wow, if I'm giving away that, then the brand has no need to sponsor me because they're already in front of my audience. One of the things is in marketing, you want to get a person in front of what they're looking for several times, because most of the time, before they're ready to buy, they need to be in front of this audience multiple times, or they need to be in relation with the brand multiple times, see the offer multiple times before they're ready to buy. So with you getting them in front of the audience on a freebie, which isn't costing you anything. I mean, to do a drop audio, live stream, there's really no cost involved besides internet costs as far as internet, service. But you just getting that, setting that up doesn't take a lot to do, doesn't take a lot to manage, and doesn't cost a lot. So now that you've done that, the second thing is you want to then put replays out on your social. Now, these replays, you want to mention anybody that participated. So any of these brands that participated or people that participated, you want to mention them in that. You also want to mention it to their competitors or the other people on your hit list that you want to be in your sponsorship, I guess you would say, hit list. So they can see that others are interested in what you're doing. So now that you mention them in the replay, now you send out an email inviting them to be on your podcast or more formal type of broadcast. So it could be your podcast, it could be your blog, it could be your radio show. So now you want to invite them to be on there. Now with that, then you can start pitching them for sponsorship. You do not have to give that to them. You can now say you've seen how we engage. You see how the audience is involved. Now we can take another step and we can get in front of the right audience. Now with this right audience, of course, it takes some things. It takes a little bit more logistically to get in front of them. There's some cost involved. Or here's some different ways we can get in front of them. You choose which ways you want to do that. Now that they're on your podcast or your radio show or your blog with the article, if you would like, you can have them actually be a part of an upsell. Now, the upsell may be a webinar series, a web series, a virtual summit, a panel discussion. There's several different ways that you can upsell them. And now you can increase that sponsorship to be more than just a one-off to something that's either ongoing or something at a larger price point. And with that, they've already built this relationship with you. They've already done some business with you. You're not just a email out the blue or a pitch letter out the blue. You're somebody that they actually know. Now they hopefully like you because they're doing business with you again. And they trust you. So that ticks off all three of those boxes of know, like, and trust. But you've got them now in there to where they're like, okay, we've done business together. We've done some talks together. We've I see what your audience looks like. I see how engaged they are. And yes, we can do some things on a future basis, and we can get into bigger projects together. So that's really the sponsorship strategy. It's not a template, a pitch template. It's none of those things. It's really just building relationship. And the beautiful thing about it, you're winning, because I know you're asking the question, what's in it for you? How are you winning? You're giving away all this. You're winning all the way across the board. And this is how. The first way that you're winning is you are actually building content throughout the whole process. The second way you're winning, you're building relationship throughout the whole process. And the third way you're winning, you're actually generating revenue through sponsorship. So hopefully this helped. If you're looking at how you can really dial into this, you can always reach out to me. We can set up a strategy session, and we can really customize how you can get in front of your right audience, how to get the right hit list, how to approach that hit list, how to get them engaged, how to get your audience engaged with your potential sponsors, and so forth. So hopefully